everybody. Just did Good Friday service Facebook live stream today. So there's issues that are cropping up with some of these lockdown orders and public policies that are just rolling out of legislators' offices everywhere. For all the static I might give him, our governor, where I'm at, has done a pretty darn good job of minimizing the impact of coronavirus in my state from a health perspective. There's a couple big cities where it's bad there, I ain't gonna lie, just the number of cases, and it's due to the population in certain areas. But our caseload statewide is as of a couple of weeks ago, we were in the bottom 3, I think, nationally, so we're doing pretty good. But the other day he issued an order that he didn't want children in stores and only one parent or adult per household in the stores. I somewhat take issue with it, but I get it to a point. Like, this is the perfect time for petty tyrants to rear their heads, and then when this is all over, if they don't lay down the power that they've taken up to protect us, I think it would become the duty of the citizens to take the power from them. You can interpret that however you want. There's a bunch of ways to do that, but like, there was a friend of mine the other day. She told me about this on Facebook. She is currently a single mother. Her husband died. Really a great guy too. And she tried to go to a store with her son, who's 13 or 14, I think. Don't hold me to that. And it was just him and her. Her other sons are of working age, and so they're either sheltering in place or essential employees and doing what they got to do. So, but she tried to go to the store with him, and the store refused to let her son come in. And there's a lot of parents out there that, or single parents, or the other parents working, my situation, and they don't have the ability to leave their kids at home. I had to go to the store today. Thank God that my mother was able to watch my kids while I was in there. But if she had been busy doing something else or not available to watch my kids or whatever, my kids are too young for me to legally be able to leave them at home, or for me to want to leave them at home for an extended period of time. I live out in the boonies. It's a 20-minute ride for me to go to a Kroger or Walmart. Not counting the amount of time you spend in there, not counting the drive home. So, even if I just walked in, grabbed a sweet tea and a candy bar, and jumped in a checkout line, you're talking nearly an hour. So, negotiating a store, when I went shopping today, I was in there for 30 or 40 minutes. It's madness in the stores right now, which is it's sad for everybody because people are still panic buying. I didn't panic buy the things that have been flying off the shelves, but I bought some stuff because I knew people were panic buying it and I didn't know when I'd be able to get it again. So I have a standing policy right now. Every time I'm in a store, I just look for toilet paper. And if I can find some, I get some. Because I don't know when they're going to have any or what so, and I'm not going to go to every store in a 30-minute radius of my house looking for toilet paper. But this is frustrating because there's a lot of people that are catching static for bringing their kids in the store when they're too young to be left alone or too far out to be left alone, or even if you had a 16-year-old and you live way out in the boonies and you don't want them to be left alone, I don't think you should be forced to. Or you don't want to leave them in the car because people are going crazy right now. I remember when I was a kid, my mom would, when the weather was nice, she would leave me and my sister in the car with the keys so we could crack the windows or whatever. And if it started getting warm, we could even start the car. We were sitting in there with the keys and running the car and the air conditioning and rocking out to the radio, being silly kids. So, but times have changed enough that I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that without my kids being supervised. There have been times that, like, when the family meets up somewhere and one of us has to go to the store, just today my mom was out and she met me at the store and she sat in the parking lot behind my car supervising my kids, and it was actually a cooler day, so with the sun coming down, they felt pretty good sitting in the car. It felt nice and comfortable in there without running the heat even. So that's where they were, and my mom could have gotten in the car if she needed to, so no big deal anywhere. But if I had to go somewhere with my kids and there's no option but to take my kids and my wife's at work, what am I going to do? I'm not leaving them sitting in the car. I'm not leaving them at home if no one can be there to watch them. Right now I can't drop them off at anybody else's house. No daycare available. All the other grandparents on my wife's side, my wife's grandmother is in her late 70s, I think, and she's somewhat paranoid anyway by nature, so she's taken this as serious as she should, given her age. And so the kids, like, the only time that she got to see the kids in the past 30 days was outside, and we were staying away from each other, but we were all outside at her house visiting for about 30 minutes or so. We had a good time. But no one got hugs, no one got picked up, no one whatever. So there's a lot of imperfect rules coming out of stores and government right now, and I really hope that when this is dealt with, however far out this ends up going, that government at all levels lays down the power that it took up to flatten the curve. I was talking with a buddy of mine in the UK. He is fortunate enough that he can work from home. He does online and telephone sales. People call him, and that's how it works, and they got him set up to work from home pretty quick. But he's got friends that work for the warehouse side of what he's doing, and they're currently essential employees as well. and they actually have to have travel papers in order to be out at given, like, it's got their their typical work schedule on it, and they've got travel papers so that if they're out past a curfew or what have you, they are stopping people, and that's not what freedom looks like, folks. So I'm hoping that when all this is over, things go back to normal in a lot of ways, especially government becoming a much smaller part of our life than it is right now. There was an article circulating around a couple weeks ago, I guess, about there was whispers, and I don't know if it was a true article or not. I didn't research it, but it was Yahoo News was the source. So, however, whether or not martial law could end up being a thing, and I don't think that this situation calls for nationwide martial law. There's a case for it in large cities or local hotspots. You could make that case for it, and it would make sense, but to declare nationwide martial law over this would be a huge overstep. And a friend of mine, or a coworker of mine, commented, yeah, well, that's coming from your side, not my side. And I'm like, tyranny's tyranny. You know, if I voted for Trump, I don't agree with him on everything. Dad said something years ago that I thought was pretty poignant. He said, there's one president that could possibly be elected that I would agree with on everything. And I'm like, who's that? He's like, me. So you pick the person that lines up with you, with your beliefs and ideals the most, and you kind of hope for the best and pray for them. That's about it. So I don't think that Trump's Hitler. I think that Hitler's Hitler and Trump's Trump, but I think that Trump is his biggest fan. And so I hope that when all this comes to an end, that it comes to an end swiftly and all the government powers have been laid down and tucked away for another rainy day. But I think that nationwide martial law is way out of the question, because there's entire swaths of the country,